Hi everybody, my name is SHANTH ENJETI and you're watching SHANTH ENJETI Art. I wanted to let everybody know about the SHANTH ENJETI Art TeePublic store. I've updated the site with some new designs, including one of my favorites and one of your favorites as well, the Made with Liberty in the USA. That is available to get on a t-shirt for all of you guys who've wanted that for a very long time, as well as the Nosfero logo t-shirt, the SHANTH ENJETI Art crest t-shirt, which I love, the Speakeasy logo. So there's a bunch of new stuff there in the shop. Every bit of support you guys give this channel, whether it's my channel members, thank you again, or sending the super chats, buying the t-shirts, every bit helps me to do what I do, and I thank you guys so much for doing what you do. As always, speak easy, stay gold, keep the faith, and peace, because that is what Shanth means. Thank you everybody. Now on with the show. What is up, all of you beautiful people? I did my best to make sure the audio was okay. There are never any guarantees, so I hope it sounds good from where you're at. I'm feeling alright where I'm at. I'm still trying to shake off whatever the heck this thing is. And just thought I would do a stream right now, covert-like. So let me see who is here in the chat. My goodness, my brother, Rocky Ballesteros. It is great to see you, brother. How are you doing? And of course, the Alpha, the Omega, the man, or as some call him, in the Spanish-speaking countries of the world, El Hombre. Stephen Rockwood Drawing, I salute you, sir. It is great to see you guys. I hope you are doing well. I'm trying to sneak in. I'm going to sneak in a covert stream at this hour. I have been packing books all day. I've realized that I am taping the living heck out of these boxes. So just so everybody knows, when you get these things, whatever the packing job is on them, it is my fault. It's nobody else's fault. I'm sitting here all day when I'm up for it. Yeah, the Koof thing has some weird tendencies. It seems to kind of come back around every now and again, and you can feel a little weak and a little run down. And that's annoying, because I really want to be packing up these boxes. But yeah, I absolutely am loving doing this. A wild man appears. A wild man! Michael Bancroft, I salute you in the chat. It is great to see you from here in America. Sending love from Browncroft to Bancroft. It is great to see you, man. Yeah, White Shanth. By the way, that is the funniest thing. You know, they say kids say the craziest things, the darndest things, and my son saying, he's like a white you, will go down in history as both the most hilarious and racist, oddly, thing I think I've ever heard. But it's crazy, man. It is absolutely crazy. So yeah, guys, so let's talk a little bit about comics. Let's talk a little bit about all sorts of cool stuff. I got in the mail a book I wanted so bad, and I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm telling you this right now in the chat. Everybody catching the show after the fact. I know I backed this. But again, I suffer from a very common disease here in Comicsgate. A very common disease here in the Iron Age, dare I say. A disease called I swore I backed that. And it is a terrible, terrible thing. I thought I had backed this book, but thanks to a kind person on eBay, I have been able to secure my own copy of the mail-in cut of Black Riding Hood, and I also got in the mail recently something I was really... we got to talk about this for a second. This book right here, I'm going to stop calling him... I don't know. He told me to stop calling him. Maybe that's where I was going with this. I don't have his phone number, but if I did, he would say, "Shanth, stop calling me." But this is the outlaw artist himself right here. Beautiful Dan Lawless piece. Can we get a shout out in the chat? Can we get some ones for the flawless Dan Lawless in the house, people? But this right here is the John Malin cover, which I think is one of the best pieces of work I've ever seen him do. I really just think John's stuff gets crazier and crazier every time he does a new piece, right? Yeah, I have to follow the rules. Michael Bancroft, channel member, rock star all around. Yes, indeed. I have to follow the restraining order rules. So I'm going through this book. I'm not going to spoil the ending of this book. But, yeah, it's... I love it, man. We do get a black and white, by the way, of the John Malin piece, which I love. And if you haven't backed it yet, there's a great John Malin cover option for Battle Brick Road 2, which is in the description, as well as Michael Bancroft's book. Special thanks to Clayton Barton and Corey Barton. Omega Storm logo created by yours truly, Shanth Enjeti. I had no idea he was going to put that in the book. And that was a real surprise and really wonderful to see. Especially because I'm a massive fan of Outlaw Comics. I'm a massive fan of this stuff. And for my money, and I'm not just saying this in the sense of, you know, to be funny or whatever else, because it's the truth. John, I mean, because it's like people will say this like, haha, you know, it's what's this, you know, what's in the book or whatever else. John Malin is making the most talked about comic books in this space as far as I'm concerned right now. He's in terms of the story, you gotta read this. Oh, I didn't show the logo. Darn. Alrighty. Can you tell I'm a professional, folks? Can you tell I'm a professional? But he is doing this stuff that, for me, like, I've got a copy. Is John Malin's work and the stories he's writing... Also, I'd like to say he's one of my favorite writers in the space now, too, because of the way he's pushing things and he's pushing the envelope. But I have to say, where is that logo anyway? I was so excited to see that in there. I think I didn't even find where the logo was, which is tragic. I'll try not to spoil this either. Well, it goes across 2 pages here. So here is your Omega Storm logo right there. Just a fun logo I did for the trailer. And that would be great if he didn't put the logo in there, though, too. Special thanks for the logo attempt by Shanth Enjeti. He sent me that image. I think he sent me one of those spreads with the logo in it, and I was like, I still didn't know, because I just did that for fun for his, to do a Shanth Enjeti cut of his trailer, and then things escalate. That's how things go with John. They're going to escalate to a restraining order. He says, Shanth, get away from me. What can you do? What can you do? A pimp's love is quite different than that of a square's. So yeah, so that was really, really exciting to get those 2 books. And then I got the manga of my absolute favorite H.P. Lovecraft story, which is actually, it's my second favorite. It's my second favorite, but it's close. There's the 2 I have in the heaviest rotation. I've listened to the audiobooks of both of these at least 100 times each. I'm no joke, no word of a lie. The Shadow over Innsmouth, which is, to me, a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece by H.P. Lovecraft. And the Japanese seem to understand how to do H.P. Lovecraft, man. That stuff is crazy. Edwin Bloodbone, Second Chance Campaign on Fund My Comics. Hail, peeps, says Edwin. There is a Second Chance Campaign for his book. Let me see here. Bloodbone 2. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, that didn't work out, what I just typed. Okay. Why can't I find this? Would someone be a dear and find the link? One of our mods be a dear and put that in there. Julie Pascal, how are you doing? Hail to you. Julie, I packed up I think I packed up one of the packages for you today. I think you have more than one, but I'm not sure. So I don't know where the sheet is, and I don't want to dox anybody. but I'm pretty sure I did today, if I'm not mistaken. And Julie, it is great to see you. How are you doing? Yeah, so people, thank you. Rocky Ballesteros winning one for the Gipper, having the Fund My Comic campaign right there in the chat. He is fast, folks. I saw something that you guys have got to stop being utterly hilarious and unbelievably moving. When I go on Twitter and I see people getting these things after all of the time and the blood, sweat, and tears, it's a lot. But I saw someone post, I think it was Shipbird Militia posted me waiting for my Nosfero, and it was a face by a window, and I started coughing with laughter. I couldn't breathe. So shout out to Shipbird Militia and all of you guys. I cannot wait to get you the books. I'm doing it as fast as I can, and as fast as health will permit, which isn't always, isn't being too friendly with me right now. But I'm not here to complain. I'm here to talk to you guys about art and fun and exciting things. So those were two incredibly exciting things. John Malin work, and his latest work to me is his best. Like, it's not even close. Like, he's in a groove with what he's doing, and it's great to see. And then, of course, the beautiful Lovecraft adaptation, which is fantastic. Lloyd, how are you doing, brother? Oh my gosh, Lloyd knows how I've been doing. I was sick in bed all day yesterday, and Lloyd sent me just a nice message. I really appreciated that, Lloyd. And I am so glad that painting is home. That it's home, Lloyd. Oh, it's so exciting, and it's so great to see you here in the chat, my friend. It has been a journey, guys. It's been an adventure. And I will tell you, the story for Nosfero 2, Death Will Die, is such a beautiful story. I was actually sharing some of it with Rocky Ballesteros the other night. I've shared some of, the gist of it with Eric Weathers and a few other folks who, I've had the chance to chat with this week. And it's a story that, and I said this to my wife about, like, Nosfero and all the work that goes into this. Every time, when it comes to Nosfero, and the thing about it that I can't overstate, when it comes to Nosfero, I'm not releasing issues of a story because I can't think in that way as some can. I think it's impressive. The serialized story format is really cool, and I enjoy reading it, that's for sure. But these stories that I'm doing are much like, they're books. So Nosfero Book 1 is, after hearing the story, I cried tears of blood, then I gave up the ghost. Well, there you go. Well, I hope not, because, I was telling people this all the time. It's like, it's cool. I've got my two crazy brothers, and then I sent off one of my brothers, Arvin. I sent off his book today. Rocky is my oldest friend, and then my other brother, Nick, who, when I was under the weather yesterday, was he's a real dear. He was checking up on me every every few minutes. I've got great people around me. I can't complain, man. No matter what's going on, I've got really good people around me, and that helps, and that includes all of you guys in the chat, guys. So make sure you hit the like if you haven't yet. Feel free to share it out. I didn't really share it on Twitter because I'm sort of like it's been a weird couple of days, man. It's like I think that this is gonna be a weird and silly year for people getting sick. Like, everybody we know is just like under the weather and just trying to get healthy. My wife is a teacher, so she's seeing just a lot of students who are just wiped out and keep coming down with stuff. So I hope all of y'all are feeling okay and doing well, because I know a lot of you guys have had your share of excitement thus far. But so, Nosfero 2. Let's talk about this for a second, man. Let's talk about this, because this is a big thing. Nosfero 2 is going to introduce some things that I've really been wanting to introduce to the story. Some really important kind of pulp elements to it, or things that were that I thought of doing when I first first came up with this character. One of them is going to be the invention of the flint, or not the invention, the introduction of the flintlock pistol. So Nosfero is going to be sporting his sword, as always, 2 custom-made flintlock pistols done by a new character I think that I'm going to introduce, who is a blacksmith. And then, in addition, Laurel is going to have her own flintlock pistol for safety, because Nosfero is not going to let his best gal in this crazy world they're living in go unarmed. She doesn't exactly go out on the adventures with him. It's not that type of party, but he definitely wants her safe after all of the excitement that they've had in issue 1, which you guys are going to be learning about. But yeah, it's a really cool story, and as a part of it, and I'm still working on it. I gotta wait till it firms up before I can really start carving into it. But I'm starting to build out a maquette of the Golem, the character that's inspired by the Jewish character Golem from the movie, the German silent film Der Golem, and of course from the original lore and story. And that character is, much like Nosfero, is going to be full-on pulp and like nothing you've ever seen before. And the storyline of this character and what a badass it is, and I say it because it is a thing, not a person, is going to tie into so many great fantasy stuff. I told somebody that it could have been my wife, and maybe it was probably my brother Nick for sure. He said, "What do you want to do with this comic?" Or we were talking about what I wanted to do with Nosfero and everything I'm doing going forward. And I said, I want to create pulp heroes that could do battle in the world of H.P. Lovecraft. They could fight, sort of these eldritch horrors. And, it was such a exciting thing, to contemplate how it would come together. And so seeing, book 1 finished and seeing it getting into people's hands is exciting, but now I feel like I've got it up and running. And you guys can probably relate to this. What is up, Dan Lawless? How are you doing, my friend? Let me see. Yeah, man, I could send you a link if you want to hang out, man. You got it, man. Let me see what I can do. Now, Dan, give me a thumbs up if this is all right with you. Actually, I wonder if... Does it work? Do you have to have... I'm using this particular software, and I don't know if you need to have it in order to come in. I don't think you do. But let me see. Watching people receive Nosfero is awesome. Makes me wish I'd backed the book. Stephen Rockwood, I know. Maybe the Second Chance campaign. We're just going to have to see. But let me see if I can figure out how to do that again. And here's the other thing, Dan. Ecamm's a little weird with this stuff. And then the other aspect of it is sharing screens is impossible. So you just have to kind of come in and hang out and talk. So let me know if you're up for that. But it's a little bit... It's not like StreamYard, is all I can tell you. So it's like sharing windows and things like that are a major pain because you have to kind of rebuild things. So that's the only aspect of it I would caution. Because, it's a bit tricky. It's a very strange output. But yeah, I mean, when I started working on this, that was my idea. I wanted to do something that was, kind of like pulp, kind of Lovecraft, kind of all of that stuff. But I have my own ideas of what that is. I know people have done things like this, and of course everybody has been doing stuff with Lovecraft and everything like that. But for me, it was also tying it into the universal monsters. It's all that kind of stuff. All right, man, if you're game, let me see. Window. I gotta see if I can do this. Interview. Okay, there's interview. It's on. And then, let me see if I can... Okay, that's copied. And then, I'm gonna see if I can do this. Do I have another window where I've done this? I feel as if I may have, but there's no telling. All right, so let's do this, Dan. I'm going to send the link, and this is going to probably be a minor train wreck, but it's all right. We've been through worse, haven't we? We've been through worse together. Let's see here. This could be bad. All right, Julie, I know you can't stay up, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. I know it is very late, but shout out to Julie. It is great to see you here. Yeah, it's a trip, man. It's an absolute trip. You know, so we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. All right, so I've got this on. Supposedly it's going to work. That's the rumor. There may be a little lag. I mean, it's going to be something. Overlays. Let's see. Let me see how this works. This is early for you, Shanth. Yeah, I know. It is, actually. It's a bit early. Let me see. That's camera A. Overlays. Huh. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. We'll wait and see. So it could be a disaster, and chances are, knowing me, it will be a disaster. But we'll get to work. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about. Oh, here we go. Let's see what happens. All right, so now I've got to figure out. Okay, I think I've got Dan in the green room. So now what I have to do is I'm going to do overlay. Let's see here. New image overlay, new dynamic text. New camera overlay. And he is, let me see what guest you are. Let's try this. Whoa, there is Dan. How's it going, brother? I know it's a strange and surreal experience.
You like one of those things where it goes, up to the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Am I moving slow? Am I moving slow? Like
no, yeah, it's gonna be weird. There's a little bit of a delay because it's streaming from mine, but it's not actually slow. It's just a little bit of a delay.
Well, as long as my voice isn't slow.
No, it's fantastic, Dan. It's lovely. It's velvet.
I'm a little slow, just generally speaking.
Oh, that's all right. I am too, man. How have you been, man? I'm glad to see you. We were talking about doing this, like we've been texting back and forth because it's just. I know.
How's your holiday? How it work out?
Oh man, it was great. Everything has been great, but I tell you what, this silly ailment takes a little bit of time to kick, and that has been a little bit of annoying frustration. But
you mean the big guy, the
mm-hmm. Yeah, the party bug that's going around. The yeah, the Rona, as they call it, Rona. Right. Yeah, but it's what's funny is, man, is that it has been. I'm really excited about 2024 because it has been great to be getting Nosfero out, and it has been really great to be. I don't know. There's been a lot of really cool artwork coming out and cool books. And I'm just ready to, it's like my wife said to me, she goes, after just finishing that book, I bet you feel like you want a break. And I'm like, nope, I'm ready. I'm ready to keep going.
I know. I love the holidays, but honestly, it's weird. It's the opposite. Like, it's sort of like, okay, everybody going back to work. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. I'm just ready to roll. There's just so much to do. I got just, there's pinups piling up. And then I've got this, do you know J.C. Vaughn from the Comics Buyer's Guide? He was actually on that live stream with Aaron, the birthday stream.
Oh shoot! Yes, I remember. Yeah.
So I did that cover for him for the Death Dealer, and he has written this story called The Retro Mariner, and it's the villain of the Kent Menace character.
Oh, no kidding.
So I'm doing that. It's an 8-pager, and I think there's another 6 to be added to it. But
are you
still? So I'm doing that story for him.
Still doing comic work, Dan?
Well, this one.
I haven't seen you do anything in a while. I thought you had retired. Oh, you know what? Never mind. No, you're doing everything. It was either you're doing nothing or everything. I'd forgotten it's everything.
Oh, okay. Everything's good. I was afraid for a second. They were like, wait a minute. I think I had some
Grosse Pointe Woods for life, Dan. For life.
Yeah. Hey, did you get your Cord Wrath and your
yeah,
did you get
dude,
Cord Wrath?
3 copies of Kordrath.
Really?
3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got
So I
one
did.
that was
So you saw the
signed.
color. Then the color turned out. I mean, the printing of
Beautiful.
of the bloodroot stuff. Man, that was.
Yes.
I'm
Beautiful.
excited, man. I'm just excited.
You
Like I
should
look at it
be.
and go, oh my gosh, because you do it on the computer and you don't know if it's gonna print that
Mm-hmm.
well. So
Well, actually, so while I've got
actually,
you here, and I
I
have
just got
not
this
told
from
you
I just
yet,
got this from Rini, and
congratulations.
I got this from Rini, and it's got the
Beautiful.
her this her core or whatever her what do you call it, fiendish
Yeah.
collection, and on the back is
There it
my
is.
my art printed, and it printed beautifully. It looks so good with
Dude.
the matte finish and stuff.
Yeah,
So I'm
man.
really excited about that. So that's awesome.
Here's the thing about Ecamm that I love.
And big.
It's a really wild software, but the cool thing is Diesel, my man, how are you doing? Raiders in the house. How you doing? Yeah, man. Diesel,
What's Valhalla?
assuming...
I know what Valhalla is, but I mean, what is the history of that?
Oh, with Diesel?
Why is he saying Valhalla?
Because Diesel is a Viking.
He's a Viking?
In his soul. Do you know what I mean? He is a raider
Well, me too.
in his soul. There it is.
Me
yeah,
too.
we're ready for your book, Dan. We're ready to get some.
Yeah.
Some.
Unfortunately, got to wait till I finish this other story, though. It's rather involved, but.
Do we get to?
But I love JC. Pardon me.
Do we get to purchase the other story?
Yes. That's.
Then we'll be good. Then I'm fine. I can wait. As long as I get more Dan. More Dan.
All right. This is gonna be full comics for me. This is gonna be like this
nice.
is storytelling. So it's exciting to do that, and it's a bit of a warm up for my own book. That'd be great because that's what's next after that. So what's on the table right now? I got I'm coloring Andy's new Kordrath cover right now.
Sweet.
So that's fun. I love coloring his covers, and then I got to do a pinup for Eric. For Battlebrook Road, a big one. It's gonna be you're gonna print it on a big piece of paper, So that's exciting,
God bless you, Diesel. Yeah, this is the cover for Nosfero 2, Death Will Die, and I am super excited about it. And thank you, Diesel, for popping in here. And let me say this as well, because I think this is the coolest thing, man. Is that so? I would rather be in the space I'm in when it came to Kordrath, which is buying too many copies as opposed forgetting to back, which I could never do to Andy, but you know how it is. I got you are well represented, Dan, in this in my studio space. But I also want to make sure I told everybody I've got a new shirt at the store that I'd forgotten to point out. This is my hold fast, outclass, outlast, and then it says at the bottom, give nihilism no quarter. Actually, let me make that a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. Hold fast, outclass, outlast, give nihilism no quarter. And it was the best thing in the world. My wife, who's a graphic designer, goes, how come hold out and last aren't I said you got it. Hold out and last. So yeah, I got this shirt because so many people, that is my mantra. I remember thinking, what's the thing? What's all this about? For me, it's big time about, I was having a bad day. Oh, there we go. Let me see this, Diesel. Shanth, I was having a bad day, and I thought to myself, what could make it better? Then, like an angel ascending from heaven, here you are. God bless you, Diesel. I would love seeing you in the chat, man. God bless you.
You didn't mention me, though. What am I? Hey, chop liver? I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, I don't know if the angel's on this side and your background is red. Easy, Dan. No, Dan, you're Gross Point Dank, baby. You're my brother. So how is what are you doing? You're working, because I feel like when I'm looking at the stuff, it seems that your inner painter is going nuts on this coloring. Like your painter style. Like, is that going to affect how you do your book, or are you just going to?
What do you mean?
I mean to say that when you've been coloring this stuff, you've been doing more than just coloring. You've been painting the living heck fire.
Painting the shit out of it, yeah.
That's another way.
Painting my brains out. Yeah.
So is that kind of illustrative approach, where you're going to go when you do your book?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, with everything. You
Nice,
know,
dude.
so I mean, that's the way I paint. Just like the way you
Yeah,
paint, and this is the way I color. And so
it's
my coloring
beautiful.
is good for some things and not for others. So like I don't think I could ever color Cyberfrog very well, but because I'm not good with getting all that technical stuff. But
Dude.
if you're looking for like an atmosphere, like more more barbarian, more fantasy stuff, like that's my skill set, right? I'm mixing colors and that sort of thing, and paint a little more painterly stuff.
Can we say God bless Kyle Ritter?
Yeah,
Seriously,
he's so
like
good, isn't he?
painting. Not only is he a great colorist, but he's what's up, comrade Sammy. Not only is he a great colorist, but man, painting all of that technical detail is so difficult to do, and he does it with
Mm-hmm.
such ability, man. I mean, he really has. Like, I can't imagine um, just how fortuitous it was that Kyle and Ethan connected the way they did. And
Mm-hmm.
it also,
Yep.
I said to my wife, one of the things that dawned on me is before email, texting, and all of this kind of stuff, because for those of you guys who don't know in the chat, Kyle Ritter is deaf. He was born deaf. He has absolutely no hearing. It would have been so difficult. I think I remember Ethan telling a story where he contacted and reached out to Kyle, and he said, maybe Ethan can correct me on this. I think he said something to the effect of, I want to hire you. Can you, can we set up a phone call? And Kyle was like, no. And he was like, what? It's like, I can't. I can't talk on the phone. I'm deaf. Which is just like, oh my gosh, man. I mean, that dude is amazing. Is a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
great.
so I got credit from Diesel now. I am actually also angelic,
See,
as you are.
listen, uh, Diesel is the man. Now, Diesel, if you have not subscribed, which I think you already said you had, but if you've not subscribed to Dan Lawless's channel, please do. It's a fantastic channel. Dan is doing a bunch of different videos, and it's just great, man.
Actually, I
One
haven't
of the
done one in a
things.
while because I'm so
I
busy.
wasn't gonna
Holidays,
say it, Dan.
yeah, holidays just swamp me. Because I
Yep.
mean, my kids were in town, and my kids take priority. And like, I drop everything, kind of when that happens.
One should, frankly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Well, it's only
yeah,
for a week or two, so.
yeah. I
By
tell
the way,
people it's
can
yeah.
can we talk about this party and how all it happened with Aaron? Oh my gosh, that
That
was
was a
so much
blast,
fun.
dude. It was
That was
great.
so. It worked out perfectly.
It worked out perfect, and it really, for those of you guys who missed it, um,
Go watch
Dan
it.
Lawless here, and the great Dame Shelley Lepresti, I think we'll say, um, put together a surprise party for Aaron's 60th
An
birthday,
online surprise party, yeah,
an online surprise birthday party for his stream,
which is a new one.
and
I never experienced that.
well, I hadn't either. If you hadn't sent me that link, I wouldn't have experienced it either, man. But
Yeah.
it was great. It was such a
Well, the
great thing
crazy
to
thing
do.
is it all happened at the last minutes because
Hmm.
I think did you get the email from Shelly that said, "Hey, you guys
Yes.
have any drawings or anything?" That was a couple weeks ago. Okay,
Oh, I
so
didn't
then
get that.
I
No, no, no.
okay, so so it was about a couple days before I did that that Kit
Hmm.
Carter piece of the boobs
Yeah.
and stuff. I was thinking, and I thought, okay, what do I do with it now? Because so I contacted Shelly and I said, what do I do with this? Do I just tag him on? Sunday was his birthday, so do I tag him on Sunday morning, or do I do it before or after their show? Because they do a Sunday show, right?
Hmm.
And she goes, "Well, why don't you just come on the show and you can reveal it then?" I said, oh, "Okay." And then I went for a walk, and I was just walking around like, "Well, that sounds kind of lame, just me at your birthday party." Like, so I thought, what if I just contacted everybody and this is the night before. I mean, this is
Hmm.
last minute as can be. So I texted Gary Martin. I said, "What do you think of this idea?" And he goes, "Oh my gosh, that's a great idea." So then I texted Shelly and I said, "What do you think of this idea?" She goes, "Oh, that's a great idea. Go for it." She goes, "You want to do it?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll just do it." And so I created the group message that you
It was
saw,
excellent.
and I did that in the evening, late at night, and it was about 27 people were included in that. And I figured just see how many would, just I'm trying. And I went through Aaron's Twitter just to like his whole, who's his friend was, to try to
Yeah.
come up with a list.
And
And
then
so
you
I
added me on top of that, which was fantastic.
his friends, and then shop.
And then Shanth. Yeah, I'm actually
Oh wait,
glad
no,
it wasn't a...
wait, hang on a second. Shanth. I mean Shanth.
poor Aaron now. Come on now. Aaron, that's
What
a
about
tricky
wait
name.
about Renee?
Yeah, that's right.
Renee.
I will say this, dude. The
Oh,
funniest thing about all of
I
that
gotta love
was
him. You gotta love him.
you gotta love Aaron, man.
Oh my
He's my
god.
monster cereal brother, dude.
He's so
He's
awesome.
and I'll tell you something, man. There people do not, of course, know this, and it will never see the light of day because I don't even know if the stream is saved. I probably deleted it at some point. But early on in Comicsgate, Aaron was trying to saw me painting and was trying to get set up to stream. And I set up a StreamYard room, and I didn't even know how to use StreamYard at that point, which was the funniest thing. I was just learning myself to show him different things like how to use OBS and things like that for art. And I went over all these technical things, what cameras I used for like 2 hours. Just us talking back and forth because that's what we do for each other in this space, man. I did a similar thing that wasn't as long with Andy Smith, where it's like these are the little things that happen, behind, closed doors in terms of helping each other get into this place. What's up, Drawzord Graphics? It's so great to see you, my friend. Yes, absolutely do. Absolutely do. Yeah, Ron. Say it like Kid Peel. Yes, we got it. Where are you, Ron? That's what you gotta do, man. But it's craziness when you think about like the stuff that we do. It's so fun, man.
Okay.
Dan, are you all right?
Rogue says he's put the link there of that birthday party.
Oh, Rocky.
Thing.
Yeah, that's Rocky. Yeah, that's my brother.
Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky's got the link
I,
right
you know,
there.
I got my glasses on. I can't even see it. It's too small.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, no, it's spelled ROQUE.
Wait, want to see what I do when I need to see something really small? Hang on a second.
Put on the double glasses. Yes, well, dude, we're living that world right now.
Okay.
But we pronounce it Rocky
that's
because
gross.
we hang in Chattanooga. This is the way it is, man. It's like and plus when you can have the nickname of Rocky, really, I mean, come on.
That is cool, man. That's as cool as it gets.
There are worse nicknames out there.
Oh, so wait, let me finish my story.
Please do.
Where I left you was I made this big old email with 27 people in it. So I work late, and then I just kind of get up to go to the bathroom several times a night. Yeah, well, of course, right? I got after 3 hours, I got up. This is in the morning. Then this is probably like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I go check the thing. It says 7 people have seen this. I'm like, oh shit, because they just don't check their DMs, So I'm like, then I'm scrambling, and you saw in that group, I'm like, all of a sudden, who knows who? Let's see, Garrett, can you get the Graybeards guy? Graham, can you get the professionals? Who knows Ethan? Who knows? I finally got Shane, and I said, hey Shane, can you get because you didn't even separately. I texted other people separately. I texted Shane separately and said, can you get? And he goes, I can go in, and so I think he got Ethan. I don't know how Ethan got it actually. But I'm so glad because
you sent me a message and you go, do you have Ethan's contact information? I'm like, outside of his email, hell no. Yeah. Ethan's like guarding his phone now.
well, guess what? I contacted Eric Weathers. I don't need Eric. I don't want his phone number. I just want someone who has his phone number, to contact him. So I contacted Eric Weathers, and I thought he's going to have everybody's number because he worked for everybody's. He didn't have anybody's numbers.
Yep.
So nobody is connected with anybody in this comics game.
I'm telling you, man, I sent a message to Eric and I was like, so Eric, the letters look great on Nosfero, and he sent me back a message, don't ever contact me again. And so that's it. Like it's over. But still, that having been said, Battle Brick Road 2, the link is in the description. There's going to be some outstanding work, and I think, of course, you got to pick up that print collection. Dan, the Flawless, Lawless, Gross Point Dank himself is going to have a piece in there. I'm working on my piece for that book right now, which is going to be Dorothy, Flying Monkeys, a little bit of Valkyrie with the wings, and I'm having a blast on this. And let me just see. Oh, actually, I just saw this paper here. I don't want to dox anybody, though. Let me just see. Did I get... No, this is the other one. This is the old one. I've got so many sheets. My wife... I've got to really get my sheets together, Dan. My wife prints out all of these addresses, and she'll, put them in front of me. And then, she's like, these are the next batch. And then I've got all my boxes over there for packing and putting these things together. And what's so great about it is that I hand pack every single package. I do all of that work myself and give her what's on the list back to her. She prints out the labels and then off to the post office. But it's a one-man operation. While I'm painting, I'm not shipping. While I'm streaming, I'm not, shipping and packing boxes. And so, to say I'm a one-man outfit is fairly accurate. It's a
now, do you
whole
hate that? Do you
different
hate it, or do you like it? All the
Um,
packaging, all the printing, everything. Like, to me, it sounds
I'm
exciting. I don't know.
it is exciting, and you know what the other thing about it is that how do I put this? The way that I work and the way that I paint, the way that I tell my stories, it's very in my head, and it's very much it's like me, and that's how I keep track of everything. So people will say to me, and everybody's got a different process, but people often say, or my wife would actually say this. She'd go, "Well, can we go ahead and do this part like while you're getting this part done?" And I'm like, "No, there are so many moving parts. I cannot do these out of sequence. I need to get the book painted. I do reach out to the printer. There is some overlap, but there is no everything stops when I stop. If I get sick, everything stops. If I'm working on this thing, I can't work on that thing." And so to get to, and you know what I'm talking about because you've worked on stories, and even more so when you launch, promote, and fund a book, man, it is it is so much more work than I think most people can imagine, doing it all yourself. Just you're the editor. Well, actually, thank God I have friends who look over the book who are fairly fairly amazing and generous with their time. And I had Eric Weathers on letters, thank God. But we are pulling out of the thin air art and story, and I'm writing things in this story that people aren't going to do anywhere else, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see anybody doing this kind of story. These are such, they're straight up pulp. There's not a drop of cynicism in them. They definitely have a spiritual quality to them, an uplifting quality. And some of my favorite creators outside of the fantasy sword and sorcery folks are Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life and Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. If I could do pulp, inspirational, H.P. Lovecraft meets Charles Dickens, I am ready to rock.
Hey, I'm creeping out Rocky. Apparently, I'm looking at.
Yeah, you are.
Because what's going on is I got my screen. I got the screen in different spots here. So when I'm looking at the chat over here, I'm looking over here. So I'm like, hey, I'm freaking him out.
Oh, thank you, Drawn Sword Graphics. Yeah.
So I'll move my other box over here.
Move your other box over, and you'll feel better, man.
So now I'm not creeping you out.
Exactly, man. And the thing about this too, right, is, and I was showing some of the character designs, Drawn Sword Graphics. My version of, that's not, his name isn't going to be this, but my version of Dracula, the Nosfero version of Dracula, is going to be in this next book, and it's the character of the Golem. Is going to be, or a version of the Golem, the Nosfero version of the Golem. It's its own sort of entity, is going to be in this book, and I'm going to be showing. Wait,
why are you saying Golem? Isn't it? I mean, only Golem I know is Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Why do you say Golem like that?
Golem is the Golem is based on a story of a made of clay or earth being that was made by a rabbi in Prague. This is the legend of it, to defend the Jewish people back in, I forget what century it was, like way back when. And they made a movie, a silent film called Der Golem. John's in the house. It is great to see you, brother. How you doing,
John?
And it was, so this rabbi, what's the word? Alchemist made this creature, and it had written on its head in Hebrew, emet, which is truth. And it's this really amazingly cool story, and I wanted to create my version of this character that was like a what's the word I could use here, that was almost like a I'll see if I can call him up here. I'll see if I can show people these things here, but it was almost like a, I don't know, it's going to be too complicated, but it was almost like a you know, well, look at Nosferatu and imagine Nosferatu is sort of my version of, you know, a Christian warrior and a religious warrior in a sense of a secret order in a Lovecraftian world. And now imagine what I would do with a golem aesthetically, and you can imagine it's going to be bananas. It's not going to look like, you know, what the golem historically looked like. But the story is that this Dracula character, there are these doors to worlds that get opened by the cultists, you know, and the vampire cultists in this world. And the Dracula-esque character of mine opens a door and leaves it open. So there's nothing to stop these things from coming into our world. And the golem steps into that fray and basically keeps them from coming in that open door. And Nosferatu's goal is going to be, for the story, is to get that door shut. And the golem character is like just a total, you know, what do you call? I mean, he's made of material, right? He's made almost by a combination of alchemy and blacksmithery and all of that kind of stuff. So
he's a Frankenstein monster, or
well, he's like it's so weird. He's the golem. Like, it's the best way I can describe him, because the original Golem movie was a huge influence, although Edison's was as well. Frankenstein was, for the idea of Frankenstein. So it's almost like it predates that, and it's just such a cool character. So actually, you know the homunculus from Hellboy? I just finally thought of it. Like, he's got the little thing on his chest, and then it gives him electricity, and then I forget what the name of the character is. Bancroft's like, Gollum. Yeah, and that's the name. That's the
first Hellboy movie?
No, it's not in the movies. It's in the comics. But I think that character was sort of based off of that idea, because he's got this little circle on his chest. My guy is like, how would I describe him? I don't know how. Oh, I gotta figure out a way to share this with you guys, because this is annoying. It's so hard to talk about. You know this. It's so hard to talk about something in pictures that is, with words. That's the trickiest thing in the world. So let me see if I can do.
Use your words, Sean.
Use your words, Sean. Use your words. I'm gonna go here.
You artists can't speak.
We absolutely cannot speak.
Well, it's true. You don't say anything when you're drawing all day.
So let me see. Is this showing up on screen?
Yep.
Okay, so this right here, these are the sketches for this world. This is what we're doing here. So this is my villain right here. This is my character guarding that gateway right there.
Oh, it looks like Dracula. That actually looks like the traditional Dracula, with the white mustache, kind of.
And there is my golem right there. So this is the world, and there's my thumbnail sketch for this cover, which is changing as I paint it. So that is
colors. Man, your colors just kill me, man. They're awesome, man.
Yeah, see, I like to sketch these things out on it with my trackpad, sometimes, and so these are all of the various elements that make this character what he is. So I've got to do a maquette.
I'm just saying, your color palette, though, you got that orange, and you got that aqua, like green, blue greens, and greens. I love that palette. It's cool. Very good.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, the thing with all of this stuff is, and what the goal is to kind of make something that is hypnotic and cool. Shanth, I've got this little napkin sketch. Yeah. Well, you know what it is, man? It's that the story is so much more. I can't put 33 paintings in front of me, 34 with the cover, and then whatever other sketches there are. I can't put that in front of me unless I really care about the story. And I've been thinking a lot about certain folklore and certain aspects of culture. And the Judeo-Christian tradition is something that is a centerpiece for the heroes in this world. And one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately is particularly, in terms of our comic book heritage. What is up, Jasper Plan 9? It is great to see you, my friend. How are you doing? I was thinking about how we've got Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster and all of these American, immigrants and children of immigrants
Jews
who are Jewish,
they're all
yes,
Jews. Yeah.
who've come to this country and given us pop culture, and especially, may I say, Carl Laemmle Sr. and his son Carl Laemmle Jr., who gave us Universal Pictures, the Universal Monsters, hired the wonderful Greek immigrant, of course, Jack Pierce, who gave us all of those fantastic creations and the makeup. And then they also hired the incredible Mexican sculptor who sculpted the original King Kong, which a lot of people don't know. He was this is a great story. He was a successful artist in his own right, and they say, we want you to sculpt this thing for this movie, and he turned them down several times because, like, I don't want to get mixed up in this movie stuff. And he created
it was considered trash. Character. It was back then. It was considered trash. So,
channel member Green Laser, it's great to see you, my friend. And so I look at this stuff and I said to myself, what a lot of people don't know is Black Panther, of course, created by Jack Kirby, it was for Jack Kirby growing up in New York in that area. He wanted to create, thank you, Green Laser and Rocky. He wanted to create a hero for the kids in his neighborhood who were black and he felt like didn't have a great hero in the Marvel world. And then I was sitting there thinking, and that's why he's named after a Jewish bread, for God's sake. How many people notice that?
Is it really T'Challa?
T'Challa! How do people not see that? You just put a T in front of challah bread.
Oh my gosh, it's wild.
Did that just blow your mind?
Did you see the original? Do you see some of the original designs? Though they weren't as good as what they went. Thank goodness they went with the all black Panther.
Yeah, dude. It's like the greatest. To me, it's one of the coolest designs, in the world.
I loved that when I was a kid. I loved that character.
Dude, I got it on the
especially when
I fell in love with How to Draw Your Comics or Marvel West.
Honestly, I didn't love it when Jack Kirby was drawing him, but when other guys like Jerry Bingham got a hold of him, and man, that was so dang cool when he was drawing that. It looks like a sleek panther, and that's what it should be.
Like, I love all of that stuff, and one of the things that has been a source of frustration for me anyway lately has been that and it goes to my favorite examples. I'm not interested in doing a history story. I'm not interested in doing something that is anything less than pulp. And it dawned on me recently that two events that are weirdly tied together, two Hebrew words one Hebrew word and one Hebrew story are tied together. And I'm a big Civil War history buff because I went to college on Missionary Ridge. Or high school, on Missionary Ridge, which is in Chattanooga, where I grew up. And there you go. Bread
sounds pretty holy.
Challah bread for life. And so one of the most the bloodiest and most horrific battle in the entirety of the Civil War, by some accounts, in terms of it was the change of things, was the Battle of Shiloh. And Shiloh was the name of the Methodist Church, and it's a Hebrew word. That means place of peace, but also sort of shining hill. It's got this connection to it. And so I was fascinated by that. And one of the generals who was there at Shiloh and was accused of not doing his job or something like that, but it was all very political at that time. Yeah, unbreaded, says John. Yeah. He went on to write a book that became the work of fiction that outsold Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was the highest selling fiction book until this book came out. And that book was Ben-Hur, The Story of Christ. So the movie Ben-Hur is based off of a book written by a Civil War general who fought at the Battle of Shiloh. And so Ben-Hur to me is my favorite fictional story. It's a story, of course, played by Charlton Heston. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. Has many of the greatest scenes of all time. And I wanted to do something in that vein that is an uplifting story, and a story of these two siblings in the battle against evil coming together. And how better than to take the golem and do the Shanth take on it. So I am damn excited. Because, my heroes are, so many of my heroes, I actually didn't even know this, were folks like Steven Spielberg and folks like that. And it got me excited. I was like, man, I want to do something cool. So there we go.
Hey, I see on the program you send me, there is a share screen option.
There what? No, there is,
Yeah.
for sure. The problem is, I don't know what I'm doing, Dan. I haven't figured it out, dude.
That'd be interesting. That'd be a bit of a problem there. Huh?
Dan, when we're streaming and we're walking in and chewing gum and painting and talking and looking at the chat, this is nuts, man.
I don't know. It seems pretty simple. Just share screen. Boom.
Yeah, it does to you because you ain't running the stream. There's just a button. Come on.
What's the problem here?
The whole screen shuts down. The whole stream closes. My computer crashes because I'm running it off of my computer.
It starts a self-destruct sequence.
Yeah, exactly, dude. You have no idea, dude. Here's the great thing about Ecamm, and then one of the things that I'm still working on. So you're the second time. And yeah, guys, let me say this too. If you have not seen the story of Judah Ben-Hur, that story, that movie, is one of the most incredible movies ever put to film. The chariot race alone is famous. I mean, I will tell you this. Watch the chariot race in Ben-Hur, and you tell me if you think that a stuntman died. I'm convinced they covered it up. There's no way on Earth half of those things that happened in that no one was killed. I know they weren't, but it is just insane. But it is the story of this Jewish prince who it has everything taken from him by this really one of the greatest villains ever in film history. Like, this guy is a narcissist. He is a just straight up wicked, and with his dying breath, he puts one over on Captain Ahab, for God's sake, and Moby Dick. He's just like going, just so you know, your mother and sister still live, and they have leprosy. And that's it. Like, that's how that dude goes out. Because of me, I gave them leprosy. It's like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? Oh my God. What's up, channel member Mighty Geek Studios? I've noticed no one really sheds light on ancient Egyptian and Japanese gods. Guys, there is so much amazing stuff out there for us to look at and be inspired by. Dan,
they used to, when they wrote comics,
man?
They used to draw on this stuff all the time. And the comics of the 80s and stuff like that, when they really started catching their, they were looking for something. These writers were scraping for any kind of, they'd scour the history and legends and stuff to bring up this stuff because everyone was looking for ideas. And they used to do that. I don't know what they're doing now. It's like they're out having, eating.
Not even God knows what they're doing, Dan.
They're eating at a cafe or something like that, and invalidating each other. Like, oh my God.
Dropping links. Thank you, John. Yeah, Rini Draws YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out, guys. Yeah, the Egyptian. I am obsessed. Mighty Geek Studios. I am 100% obsessed with watching history documentaries and things like that on Egypt. I'm fascinated by it. I have several really great books on Egypt. I wonder. Oh, I've got a great one here. Let me grab it real quick. Dan, you can hold down the group while I grab some stuff.
I gotta wing it, huh? Okay.
I love the freeze. Dan, it's real. The freeze is real.
Hey, my mom loved Egypt, and she had lots of Egyptian art and stuff like that. She volunteered at the art museum all the time in Detroit there, and really, because that art, the Egyptian art, is pretty spectacular. It's something else.
This right here, guys. And Michael, it is great to see you in the chat. How are you doing, my friend? I hope you are well. I feel like that's another book I may have sent off today, but I'm not sure. Or not sent off, but got packed up today. So this is the silent film, The Golem. This is what the original character
I've seen something like this. Yeah, this looks familiar.
I bet you've seen this. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Guarantee you've seen this. And so this movie...
that's a bad haircut.
It's not the best. But things happen. 1920. That's when this movie came out. So I wanted to reference this because it's a silent film from the same era as Nosferatu, because Nosferatu was the influence for Nosferatu. So I've got to do my German expressionist silent films as influences for these books. That's a huge part of it. But this book right here, this small softcover book, is one of my most treasured possessions because it is filled with detailed drawings and engravings of Egypt. So whenever I have to understand and figure out something about Egyptian art, which you can imagine there's some of in Nosferatu, look at this. These are drawings done at the time. Yeah. These are historical pieces where they were trying to create this kind of stuff. These are the books that are gold, guys. These are gold books. And I just go through them and I'm like, are you kidding me? Topographical studies of the land, engravings and etchings that were done on site, various details. Let me let that focus there. Look at this stuff. This is, when we're imagining things and we're going into this world, for heaven's sake, guys, I try to, if I'm going to fall short of something, I want to fall short of this stuff. Scale is our friend. It doesn't cost more paint. It might cost a little bit of time, but who cares? We can give you guys the world. That is the job.
In this stuff, you can see the underpinnings of the Greek and Roman architecture that came after it.
Dude,
the pillars.
This is madness. Or Sparta. Not sure which one, but I think madness. Look at this. This is a small book too, by the way. Look at the detail in this, guys.
Yeah, somebody was scratching away, man.
Somebody, look at these guys sitting in the sand as it's being unearthed for scale. This is the stuff that gets those fantasy and imaginative, juices flowing.
That's the thing that's fascinating too about all that Egyptian stuff, because the sand's so dry and the environment's so dry. This stuff is in there. It's lasts. Doesn't decay. Mm-hmm. That's why the Dead Sea Scrolls and things like that. That's the only reason they could survive, because they were.
Yep.
You put it in a container, put a cork on it, and it's going to last forever.
I mean, I look at this stuff, and then when you get into some of the color plates, I mean, I could stop on every page of this, but when you get into some of the color and gouache-like paintings they probably did, or ink, more likely, to document the color of what was happening in this. And there's a page. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite pages in the book because of the color.
Yep.
Doesn't that make you think of Universal?
There's shot colors in there, man.
Dude, I love this stuff. What is up, awesome one? How are you doing? Hail to you, channel member, an amazing guy. It's great to see you guys. John in the house, great to see you. Like Sean's napkin, I wish. Yeah, Diesel. You know what I'm talking about, guys? I mean, this stuff, guys. But look at this. I just think about, when I see this, I think of, and I know, Dan, I know you're with me, and it might be blasphemous, I think of the Universal monster movies. I think of the Hammer horror mummy movies. You know what I mean?
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, why wouldn't you? Yeah.
It's like, because they cared about their set designs. They may not have been perfect, but man, did they put time into them. I want to see this again. Look at this stuff. The mummy engravings they did as they uncovered this stuff. It was all like forensic detail. This is incredible stuff. The types of animal skeletons they found. And so when I'm doing something like Nosferatu, which is centered in Egypt, which is settled, is set in the Middle East in terms of where the villain's base is, much like the what's it called, the Nameless City from Lovecraft, that is quoted in the book. It's like this is everything I love is in these books. Like, look at this, Dan. Isn't this just rich?
Yeah.
It's so rich.
It's extraordinary stuff for sure. Yeah.
Look at this obelisk. Let me let this focus just so you get an idea.
You just think how old this stuff is too. It's like so freaking ancient. It's like
humbling. Yeah. Do you know that from the start of the Egyptian First Kingdom to the end of the Egyptian Kingdom, right? This is how much time passed. How long this lasted is the same amount of time as from the end of this to now. So more history happened inside of the reign of Egypt than has happened since to present day. That's how long it lasted. We have no concept of the time we're talking about here. This is a
You know, it's
truly
it's interesting to
epic
think like
civilization.
interesting to think like what were they what was their mindset? What were they thinking about? Because we know we have everything we think is in the context of the Christian faith
Mm-hmm.
and our view of the cosmos and all that kind of science
Mm-hmm.
combined with that and stuff. What were they thinking? It sounds really like because they
It's
didn't have any of that
unbelievable.
yet, you know?
Well, I want you to think about this for a minute. This is what keeps me fascinated by all of this stuff, man. Is that it's not just what they were thinking. It's what were they thinking during this century in Egypt? Like it's the like when you cover that much time, it's like saying, what were they thinking for the Middle Ages? Or the early Christians, right? To now doesn't even cover the range of all this stuff. That's how crazy. Yeah, there you go. And look, I love chat. Don't ever change. Don't ever change. Yeah, kingdoms were individualistic during ancient times. Yes, and so crazy cool. God visited Pharaoh, so they found out. That's right. And many of us,
Oh,
Diesel saying Sumerian, amen. Yeah, if you like Diesel, if you're fascinated by Mesopotamia, all of those kinds of things, do me a favor and check out. The link is in the description. It's not too late to get a hold of book 1 and 2. The Lucent by Michael Bancroft is a cross between Matrix, Mesopotamia, and the Gilgamesh story. It is amazing. And actually, I don't know why I'm using just words when I can grab this, which is the painting that is killing me slowly. This is my painting I'm doing, and it's a little oversaturated because of how I've adjusted my camera. But this is the painting I am doing for Michael's book, and these are the themes of it, which is modern day meets
wow.
Gilgamesh.
Oh my gosh.
And this stuff has been absolutely bananas to do. This
Yeah,
painting is ridiculous. I don't know what I was
it
thinking
is.
when I started. Oh my god, dude. It's like, yeah, I don't even want to look at it anymore. It's making me frustrated. No, I'm kidding. It's like, but it's like I basically said, oh, you know what I should do? I should do a painting where I go insane. That was basically the
Mm.
thought process, I think, and like
I don't
think
know.
about.
I think you got just a whole bunch of color that's it's very expressive and beautiful, and
Oh, thank you,
so
brother. I appreciate it, man. Yeah. It's yeah. I love the Lucent, Michael. I love the Lucent. Michael is one of my many Comicscape brothers I'm lucky to have, man. And yeah, make it a puzzle, Bancroft stat, indeed. Oh my gosh, 60 degrees. Yeah, guys, this weather. Yeah, and Egypt got wrecked. I know, dude. I was thinking about that, man. It's the thing about it too is the weather has been so nuts here. The up and down. It's been an arthritic nightmare, Dan. It's been terrible, man. I can't stand it.
in what way? What are you getting
Oh
there?
my gosh, I have terrible arthritis in my left arm, and so like when the weather goes up and down in New England, like it goes from 50 to 20. Oh, it's like someone turning the screws in your joints. It's awful, man. Oh Lord,
Yeah,
don't
well, I
break a
tell you what
bone.
though, if you want to talk
Yeah.
like weather, man, we
Oh, I know.
we have had gray skies here for like
We're,
it goes for weeks. You don't see the freaking sun, in
are you
Michigan
still in
here. So,
Michigan?
yeah,
Oh yes, I
yeah,
figured you
so
were.
yeah. Well, family's here and stuff. So, but oh my
Yeah, of
gosh,
course.
when you don't see the sun like for like a
Yeah,
week, you just get bummed out.
yeah, man.
It's weird.
It's true.
Everyone's just like dragging, like what the hell?
Yeah, it happens here too, and that's the thing too, right? Which is one of the things I love about getting to do these streams and doing these paintings and things like that. I posted this on Twitter, but there was I was watching a retrospective on Bray Studios and Hammer Horror Films, which I love Hammer Horror Films. If you're looking for something that's dark but also fun and uplifting, yeah, I do enjoy staring into the abyss. Although the abyss sees me staring back and freaks out, it scares the abyss. But it's the thing for me is that she was describing Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee and working with them, and she said there was a poet once who said that we have memories, or we make memories so that we have roses in winter. During tough times, we look back on those happy memories. And she said, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee are my roses in winter. because they were such lovely people, and it put a big smile on my face. And I think that's what Comicsgate is. I think that's what the Iron Age is. I think that's what this creative process is that art is very much our roses and our, the roses in winter that we have, the movies I put on during this time. And I was watching Ben-Hur the other day, which I love that movie. I've been watching more movies again, or more old movies for the first time than ever before, because we have great entertainment that we have yet to watch. Has everybody watched every Kurosawa film? I know I haven't, but it's there to be watched. It's there to be discovered. Don't let the entertainment of today be your prison. It's watch stuff you've never seen before. There's masterpieces out there.
I'm
I
looking
love
at the
art,
chat
Dan.
here.
Don't you? Isn't art wonderful?
I do. Yeah, I do. And it's just and watching you do this stuff, it's fascinating to me because it's so different than the way I approach my stuff.
The way I work
you always hate when I say this,
different.
but you always hate this when I say this, but I'm always like a paint by numbers kind of guy.
Well,
I
what it is?
I take something. Oh, that's a red thing. Okay, I paint it red and I kind of put some colors in it. But like, it seems like when you approach a drawing, it's like, well, it's kind of bluish at first, and then it's black, and then you're adding color, and then
I cannot.
I don't get it.
My process. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Diesel.
Maybe you're like Ethan. You're a genius on a very bizarre level.
Well, what's funny is, and 90% of them are unknown to Americans. You're absolutely right. 100%. Yeah, there's some great Australian movies. Really great Australian movies. Does Nosfero have any ties to Anubis? Nosfero doesn't really have any ties to Anubis, but there's a chance, not in a super direct way, that Greylock does. His werewolf adoptive father. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out, here's the trick, right? You always want to do these things, I don't want to say not in a way it's ever been done before, but you don't want to do it in a way that feels too predictable to the audience. So, the last image of Nosfero is, at the last page, for those of you guys who have it, is the perfect combination of pulp, sexiness, mystery, almost has a classical religious sort of quality to it. It is like only in the independent space, only in Comicsgate, and hopefully, again, if I'm really bringing it, the stuff I'm doing in my book are things that are things that have been done other places, but some of it are things that I would put together, because that's kind of what we're tasked with doing. Like, I don't want to do something that's 100% you've never seen this before, because a lot of really good stuff you've seen before. Do you know what I mean? And so,
sure.
Of course, that old stuff is going to influence the work. I mean, if I could successfully, borrow from Charles Dickens, right? And I knew how to do that. I was smart enough to do that. I would do it, but it's
well, you can. I mean, all that stuff goes in the mix. You don't realize you're being influenced by it really, but you are.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that when I do them, but I don't really necessarily believe in or understand the whole auteur theory thing. I think it's overstated. Look up the movie Chopper. It's Eric Bana, based on a true story. Holy cow. Yeah, I love that dude. That fight scene, one of the most underrated fight scenes in my personal opinion, between him and Brad Pitt in Troy, is freaking amazing. Hector versus Achilles.
I never watched that. I don't think I watched that.
Yeah, oh man. You gotta watch the original theatrical cut, which you can order. I forget where. You can get it on eBay, an overseas version of it, because the only version you can get here is the director's cut, and the score doesn't. It was better. The theatrical cut was better. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm just reading that. Super Pets was great, except they made all the women unattractive. Okay, fair enough.
Wait, Super Pets. I think I saw some of that. I did. It was pretty fun. Like, was it like a Pixar or something like that? Yeah.
Amen.
Where Superman, one was kind of a Superman, and yeah, it was kind of cool.
I mean,
I kind of liked it. It's kind of fun.
Dude,
I like some of that kid entertainment.
Well, yeah. Well, you have kids, right? We've watched hours and hours of it, right?
Well, they're all grown up, but now I've got that used to be great. Like, I had all the excuses in the world. Like, oh yeah, I gotta watch, this Pixar film, Minions and stuff. They gotta
Your
hang out
kids
with my
and
kids, right? That was my
yeah, your
excuse,
kids and my kids grew up
And I
during the
gotta
golden
find a
era.
kid like, hey Lee, come here, kid, let's go to the movie.
Yeah, except for the movies are not as good as they were, dude. I just saw my brother in the chat. Rocky sent me a news article about how Pixar is going to be cutting its staff, and I was talking, to him. I was texting him, and I was saying, yeah, that studio is going to be shuttered. They're just going to move everybody down to Burbank. Like, I think once they got rid of Lasseter, there was no reason in their minds for it to exist, and they cut the soul out of that place, man. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
past the
something. They
sauerkraut,
were
this
on
sounds pretty good.
such a roll, man, for a while.
They were.
When my kids were small, man, they had hit after hit after hit. It
Mm-hmm.
was like there just were so many that they were pretty cool. Pretty cool. You
I'm
could see
excited
the
to see
artists
that.
that were at work in the studios that were really putting those things together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
work at Tim
something like
Burton's doing.
you look at something like Moana. Moana,
Yep.
that's
Beautiful.
art candy, man. That's
Yep.
like you can see the concept artists putting those colors together, and it was fantastic looking.
What's a
Extraordinary stuff,
beautiful
really.
movie that I watch all the time, and they just did a gorgeous 4K remaster of it, and it's a big influence on my work aesthetically, is Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, which is a total homage to Hammer horror films, down to having,
I remember seeing that and
yeah,
thinking it was pretty gory for me. Like I just thought it
yeah,
was.
oh, it is. It
I
definitely
didn't.
is.
It turned me off a little bit. Like I just
Yeah.
you know.
Well, they definitely it was R rated, and their movie pitch slogan was "Heads will roll," and by God, did
Yeah,
they deliver?
it sure
It was.
did. They delivered.
But what I love about it is the sets. I'm a sucker for theme park and movie set design with fake stonework and fake old, wooden houses in the Gothic, village, and they're doing
Sure,
that
sure.
for the Universal, Universal. What the hell is it called? Oh my gosh, I forget what the name of it is. Hang on a second. I'm gonna see if I can find this for you guys because not enough people know about this, and it just kills me. What is that guy's name? Shoot. There's this guy. Reconstruct. There it is. So there's this guy, this cat, dare I say, perhaps even a kitten, I can't speak to it, who I guess flies drones over the in progress theme parks that people are doing and takes photos of the progress. And they are building and Universal Studios, their new epic universe that they're building, a Universal Monsters Land, and
Hmm.
the architectural fake architectural detail. I mean, it's real, but it's they're sculpting things like old shingled roofs and things like that are so spectacular. Man, watch me not be able to find any of this because he takes so
See,
many
to
photos.
me, a good scary story, I think, is one that's more supernatural than gory.
Mm-hmm.
Gory to me is just sort of repulsive, but
Yeah.
there are certain things that are just scary. Like
Oh yeah.
they're more ghostly and things like that. It's like,
Yeah, my philosophy or the stuff that attracts me, I think Guillermo del Toro said this, and it definitely is true for me. I like the aesthetics of horror. I don't like the mechanics of it. And for me, as an artist, I don't
what does that
like
mean?
the. Okay, so I like what you like: the decorating for Halloween, the creepiness,
Right,
the Jack Asher red and green lighting that you see in all horror stuff after Hammer Horror introduced that into
right.
beautiful Technicolor, right? I like the twisted tree roots, but I'm much more a fan of gothic romance and even romance when it comes to what I like to see in my movies, or what I like to tell in my stories. My stuff is very positive, very much more romantic and uplifting than shock value. You know what I mean? And horror value. But I can't find any really good images of this. I'm gonna try for just a few more seconds, but they're building these just incredibly cool. Oh, actually, is that almost one? Gothic village that's going to look like the set from the old Universal movies that you get to walk through. There'll be shops, there'll be rides, there's going to be a Wolfman ride, there's going to be all of this incredible stuff. And theme park design and theme park designers were, oh wow, I just got to a few photos of it. But theme park designers were a huge, huge influence on me for my art and my backgrounds. I used to say when I was doing backgrounds for my comic book stuff, I remember I said, maybe it was something I said to Stelfreeze, I can't remember, back when I was, visiting Gaijin Studios a lot. I'm pretty sure I said to him something to the effect of, oh man, I hate backgrounds. I hate drawing backgrounds. And he said something to the effect of, well, yeah, I hate your backgrounds too. And I bust out laughing. And he said, do more interesting stuff. And I thought, oh yeah, that's kind of important.
That makes
do
sense.
More interesting
that
stuff.
Makes sense.
And that's what you got to do.
Oh, by the way, I tell you, I got kind of dissed on Twitter by Rob Liefeld.
What? You got dissed by Rob? What did he do?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, what happened was he put up a post and it said something like, "You guys, you in the '90s, we gotta, we did wild stuff. We weren't afraid to do some, we didn't have sensible anatomy and stuff like that." And I just I said, yeah, okay, but when you look at this, the guys that built the comic book industry, the Gil Kanes, the John Buscema, the Gene Collins, the John Romita, they had sensible anatomy, and that was a brand that was solid, and that's how they built Marvel Comics from no sales to a lot of sales. And he just kind of rejected it, said it was hilarious. Like I said, you think my opinion's hilarious? Like, they had the solid opinion I had, like, gee.
Well,
but he's got to defend his.
Rob, John is not going to have your back. You better know that.
I know. Well, here's the thing: is John and I have totally different perspectives because John, when he came in the business, was given a job by Rob, and from my perspective, Rob's style of artwork kind of displaced my traditional way of the traditional Marvel style, which I was drawing. So I sort of lost the job because of Rob, and he sort of gained a job. So we're gonna have different perspectives on it for sure,
But you got to remember, John is always right, though. That's the most important thing to remember. But look at these village.
I'm not so sure about that. It's not a lot, but yeah.
I know, as long as.
Oh yeah, that looks crazy cool,
look
man.
Look at this, dude. Look at this. Look at that. This is all new, like hand sculpted, poured concrete to look like aged stone. This is what I.
And that's not like a little model. That's like full size.
That's full scale. Take a look at the size of the lighting rig.
Oh yeah, exactly. You can see that.
This is going to be a horror theme park or a Universal Monsters theme park.
Whoa,
see, I wish I could see. Look at that. Do you see the scale we're talking about here?
Yeah,
if you've ever seen any of the stuff they've done for Harry Potter,
it's like a freaking high rise.
That's a buzzard right there. I know the bird. That is a gigantic buzzard that they have tons of down there. And
so now, how old are these pictures? How far are they along?
These pictures are from a couple of days ago or a week ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Although they can probably go pretty fast. Do they have a opening date for this thing?
Yeah, it's gonna be 2025, I think. God, I have so much crap on.
Okay, so it's a bit of ways, still, yeah. But that, of course, with the scale they're doing there, of course,
Where are my scenes? There we go. But yeah, there's so much stuff, man. There's so much amazing stuff that they're doing there, and I know that bird personally is right, man. You better believe I do. I know all of these birds personally. But it's a crazy thing, man. Oh yeah, that's Epic Universe. Eric Huffles knows what I'm talking about. Shout out, artist Eric Huffles. It's great to see you, brother. But yeah, I mean,
someone's speaking in German. Awesome one's speaking in German, I think.
Where's Awesome One? I'm trying to find it. Google Translate. Is that what you're using? Yeah. Menschecker Schneek. Let's see here. Shanth. Oh my God. So I'm a fourth Austrian. Awesome.
I only speak Polish,
You guys kill me. Yes, I do know that bird personally. So here's what I think about. When I talk about my paintings and someone said to me, what's your approach to painting? I remember I said to somebody, I went, I do my artwork. I paint like I'm decorating for Halloween. That's the best way I could put it. And I think
that's
about
interesting you
design.
say that, though, because when I do comics sometimes, I know that if I sort of put into the mix, Halloween, there's something that clicks because when you start thinking about contrast, darks and lights, it seems like there's a lot of like strong elements in the Halloween motif. Like
Yes.
it's there's like it's but sometimes you get lost. Gets lost in the details and the complexities. But Halloween sort of is a strong graphic. When as soon as you got the black shapes,
Yep.
you're suddenly you got an anchor in your art, and then you can build on that and with your colors and build contrast and stuff. So
I tell you though, Dan, if you ever look at the way, and anybody looks at the way I work and goes, "That's insane." It's the exact same way that I do everything. It's the way that I write. It's the way that I come up with, when I'm doing videos for Ethan of things. Like, I never know half the time where all this stuff is going. Like, I was watching the opening of Comicsgate Kings. I think it was the other week, but I can't remember. And it's so weird to see the new intro, because when I see the new intro, and someone goes, "Oh wow, there's a new intro," it's like there's so many people who see it for the first time for months, and it's so wild, man.
I'm in it, by the
It's
way. Did you see that?
I know you. Yeah, I put you there.
All right, I made it.
Yeah,
I
dude.
don't go on the
Yeah,
show though. Because
you
one thing
better
I
get your
always
ass
feel
on
like,
that show, Dan.
well, I always feel guilty. I mean, I got the link and stuff, but I always feel guilty because there's guys pushing their books, and I don't want to like get in the way. You know what I'm saying? When I get a book
Yeah.
going, then I won't feel bad about it. But it's kind of like there's Jimmy there, because he'll do that sometimes. So it's like you go in there and they'll kind of boot Jimmy or support Jimmy. And I'm like, I don't want to do that to Jimmy. Plus, there's
Jimmy's
another
rough.
factor. I don't know if I think I mentioned this. Ethan kind of intimidates me a little. He's
Oh,
There's
dude.
something about he's so fast, he's so witty, he's so quick, and I'm just like, it's the only time I get kind of a little bit nervous when I'm on his show.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
Yeah.
relax once
The
I'm there
only
sometimes,
time
but
I really get nervous is when I go on Ethan's streams and he starts screaming, "You're humiliating yourself, Shanth. You're humiliating
is,
yourself." Then
is that what he
that's when
says?
it gets me. But it's not often. It's not often.
Well, he's just so quick. All those guys
Oh,
are
dude.
kind of
Yeah.
quick. And it's
They
like they
are.
think of jokes. They think of jokes like every 5 milliseconds. I think of a joke
For
every
sure.
5 minutes, maybe. Or I think of
Yeah.
something
I
funny
mean,
about based on something like takes me. I have a slow processor. So. But
dude,
it's
I
still
tell you
fun to go
though.
on those shows. It's fun. Sometimes I'll go on, John's post Kang's show and stuff,
Grab an oar,
but that's
Dan,
kind of,
says Eric Huffles. Grab an oar. Yep.
oh,
And I,
yeah, well, I have. I've been helping everybody. I've been, doing all kinds of stuff. By the way, did you read John's graveyard shift, Omega Storm?
yeah, I did.
Oh my God.
Yes, dude.
Oh, I read that. I finished that last page and I saw the dedication. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I'm
He
I,
is
I
he
like.
is out there. Oh man.
Here's what I'll say about that book, and I don't know how many of you guys have read it, but I just want to say this is my thing is, I got to tell you, reading that story, I like where John's head's at.
Oh, man. He,
John, if
he
you see
really
this
got
later, come on now,
he really
give
got
it
ahead of
up.
the game.
That was good. Come on now,
It is
Malin,
good.
if you
It
see
is
this
good.
later.
Oh my gosh. It's just he is taking out
Yeah,
all the
look,
the blocks. That plane is flying, man.
we have got to our job, at least I feel like as far as indie creators go, our job is to grab people by the throat and bring them into these books. You know what I mean? And when I'm doing my book, I'm sitting here going, like, everybody's got a different version of this, but in the indie space, man, we gotta stop. Like, the indie comics, man, like, this is a perfect example of it. When I went to school, when I was in college, um, I said to somebody, I go, if I talk to one more teacher and tell them I like comics and they can't talk to me about comics without using the words new and Yorker, I'm going to lose my effing mind. And I said, the other thing is, I said, if
Why
one
New
more college,
Yorker?
what?
Why?
Because it's
Oh, oh.
they use it to like, it is the end all be all of comics. And it drives me crazy. What's up, 40% Zed? And the other one was, every time I said, I like comics, they'd go, have you read Mouse? And I'm like, I just want to look at them and go, have you read Will Eisner's A Contract with God? More importantly, and then they'd say things like, well, isn't it fascinating? Like, it's the first time really you're seeing a Jewish creator in comics. And I'm like, I guess you only notice people when they're drawing
The
overt
entire
attention to
industry.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
And I said to
Superman?
them, here's what it is, man. My character, whose name is Bromstone. He is the anti-mouse. He is the character that if you're a young kid coming up, you're gonna be like, oh wow, I didn't know about the golem, lore and these particular aspects of the Old Testament and also Jewish culture. I want you to look at it and go, this guy is like freaking, I don't know what I would describe him as. He is Old Testament, as a character said in Peaky Blinders, but like meets Death Dealer. But he's like Life Dealer, if that makes sense. That's what this cat is, Like, he is there. He is a force of good. And, man, I cannot wait to tell people more about it. But I'd retort with, have you read G.I. Joe 21? I would do things like that. I'd be like, have you read Hulk 340? One of my favorites. The lack of interest in comics is just so apparent. Because, yes, technically what happens in New Yorker are comics. But that's not what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Do one of my favorite stories in comics, do you remember it was a book series or two issues story, Spider-Man with Madam Web and the Juggernaut? Do you remember
Yes,
that
I did.
story?
I saw it secondhand in Marvel Tales, I think. They
Yeah,
reprinted it in Marvel Tales.
really, really liked that story. That was one of the ones that
Yep.
made an impression upon me. I thought it was just so like you don't see that kind of stuff that often where
Yep.
Spider-Man's just trying his best and keeps getting his ass kicked and finally comes up with a solution. But it was really quite amazing. It's quite a
Yeah.
story.
Well, we've got to make the stuff now. I mean, like, not even like, I think that the thing I would say to anybody, not that I'm not that I'm here to give advice to anybody about any of this stuff, but if someone were to ask me like what my thought is it's we've got to do something. We've got to do something new and different with this art form, And that was one of the things. What's up, Jordan? How are you doing? Yo to you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. It's great to see all you cats in here. Thank you for coming on in and saying hello. I really did not think this stream was going to go on very long because I've been so under the weather and run down. But it's doing Nosfero as an 8.5 by 11, doing it fully painted, doing it about the things I touch on in the subject matter. I don't do, John Malin goes further with, the gore and the shock of, horror. It's almost like a Saw movie, which is kind of
Yeah.
what it was, what it's going for.
It is kind of interesting when he, these superheroes who have these really superpowers, it would probably be a little more gory because if you
Yeah.
can punch through steel and then you punch a fleshly creature, you
Well, Lord knows
probably
would they do that with the
disintegrate a
boys,
lot of them,
don't they?
Hmm?
The boys really does that a lot, right?
Yeah, actually,
That
I didn't watch. I only watched like the first episode. I thought, I go, wow, this is intense. But then,
yeah.
I had to watch things with my wife, and
Yeah, she was about Rainbow the Brute in the chat, y'all.
so sometimes
Full
it just
story,
doesn't.
bro.
It's like I got that's sort of a you got to
Mm-hmm.
compromise. For what we
Amen, buddy
watch.
geek. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like I said to myself, like, because I love the European stuff, and I go, I'm not going to go over the top, but I want to at least go somewhere between Frazetta level nudity and Hammer horror nudity, because I want to paint the female figure, and I want to get that sort of pulpy quality to it. And it's what would I say? It's if someone asked me if it's gratuitous, I would say it's like pulp. That's the best way I could describe it. I am not trying to be like, it's artistic and everything is just happens to be in front of a shadow, because I can't stand that crap. It always annoys me. But it's the spirit of it is full tilt. I want you, when you pick up this comic, shout out to my man Eric Weathers, you're not in Kansas anymore. That's what I want to say. You are not in the mainstream. If I were to describe my comics, because I've been watching a lot of pre-code films like Tarzan and His Mate with Johnny Weissmuller, I look at stuff like that. I call my comics pre-code comics. That's the way I would describe them. Pre-comics code, but also pre-code code.
Yeah, but I
And
also like the code comics too. I think sometimes when you
I don't
have
hate them.
when you have these restrictions on you, I mean, because the danger of no restrictions is that it's like it can be easier because you can, like to do the shock stuff. It can be easier because you don't have to come up with anything really creative. But when you're forced to be in the parameters certain parameters. Sometimes that forces you to have to come up with something, truly unusual or different than you
Mm-hmm.
normally would do. So there are advantages to. I mean, I think a lot of great characters were created in the comics code era. A lot of the
Yes.
Marvel characters. So
Yeah.
that's where people
Well,
started
that's the
going
cool
to the
thing about
history in
being where
Egypt
we
and all
are,
that
though,
stuff.
right? You don't have to do anything. I have a page in my book, one of my favorite pages, which I've shown on stream, so I know I can show it. It's not a big deal if I can track my book down. I've got a copy of it somewhere around here where, the copies that aren't up to scratch, I'll just put them aside. There's my 50 copy. I have so much Dan Lawless artwork. It's ridiculous, dude. So you are well represented here, Dan. Know that you are seen and heard, my friend. I've got a few.
Hey, Rocky says I'm the medicine you needed. Although remember, hey Rocky, my name's LIS at the end of it. Just so you know.
That's right, man. But I wish I could find it. But there's a big panel at the top of the story where
Although
Laurel comes out.
LESS is cooler, I have to say.
That's
I
right.
kind of wish it was LESS. That's cooler.
But you could always have that be your artist name. But I like it the way it is because it's like then it rhymes, Flawless Dan Lawless. It works, man.
Okay, good. We'll do that.
Yeah, but so there's a panel where Nosfero. I have sequences where where the Laurel character is nude, but for and not like throughout the entire thing. And I also have a large panel that's more than a big chunk of the page where Nosfero is kneeling and praying. That's what I see independence as being. Do you get what I mean? It's
Sure.
not one thing, it's broadening it. And that's what
Right.
I need. I need to be able to broaden things because there's wild stuff in the Bible, there's wild stuff in all of the
Oh my
sacred
gosh, the
texts.
Bible is
Yeah.
it's like
And
plenty.
we make entertainment. Shoot, Ben-Hur, in terms of that chariot chase, again, I defy anyone to argue in a court of law that a stuntman was not killed in that thing. It's terrifying. But when I look at the stuff that I'm doing in this book, I want to make sure that I want good to be something that is. Oh wait, let me just read this here real quick. Here, oh my gosh, glasses fell off my nose. Amazing considering my nose.
Hey, I
The
got
French
to take a
company.
break. I'll be back in a second. Let's
All
see.
right, bro.
I hit
Hey,
my
you can call back
where,
in. You
I
can
can
sit
see
the X.
the mute button, but where's the
Oh, I'll ship you away and then you can come back and dial back in. Okay. All right, there you go. So yeah, so one of the things. Whoop, cancel. So yeah, Michael said, let me get this here. Did the French company Vivendi take ownership of Universal during all that fight back during the nonsensical satanic panic in the 80s? I'm not sure, actually. That's a really good question. Let me see here. Omega Storm is a bit too much for me. I'm not a gore porn fan. I actually like a bit of subtlety for gore. Absolutely not completely censored, but more subtle. Gotcha, Jordan. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? That is, the Bible has the best stories for comics. Oddly, not a lot of them. I mean, people have done it, but I don't think people have fully explored doing that on the level that we could. And I think it's because so many great artists have done that kind of work, that you've got to step it up. I mean, doing a painting of religious stories, you're basically having to do a version of the story that lives up to every incarnation that we've seen and bring something new to it. And that's tricky, man. That is really tricky. And that's why I like fictional stories like, Ben-Hur, because Ben-Hur really just creates that epic sense. And it's beautiful what it does. Heavy metal, 100%. My stuff, I really think my stuff is like Frazetta paintings as comics in the subject and how far I'm willing to go, when John described it as Saw with superheroes, I respectfully bowed out. I saw Ethan's spoiler and was glad I did. I'll catch Graveyard Shift 5 instead. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. Yeah. John's got that. He's got that quality. He's got that really great quality of just pushing the envelope, and I am glad to share a space with him, man. Because he pushes things. Like, all of us have the ability, how do I put this? Our singular job is to entertain and put something beautiful in front of people that people feel like it brings something into their life. And we all have different approaches for how we're going to go about that. My approach is very much rooted in, now I've really got to find this because this is annoying me. My approach is very much rooted in, how could I have so many copies of this book that are around here and not be able to find a single one of them? Oh man, so frustrating. Oy vey, I've got so much art here, so many comic books. Let me see what I've got here. Oh, there he is. There's the man. Hold on, let me welcome Dan back. Let me see if I can get him in here. There he is. Boom, look at that. Isn't that cool?
Hey, which hat do you like better? Hang on a second. I got
Which one
this.
have we got? Oh, that's a good one. I love the all caps, yeah.
I just got, now this is the old one.
They're both good, Dan. Ethan makes quality stuff.
Right. So I got two new hats because this one, the green one, I had this and it just kind of got beat up because I wore it so much. But these hats, when I got this one, I was like, oh my god, I never had a hat that actually fit my ginormous head. You know,
they're great hats, man.
And it doesn't blow off in the wind. Like, it's great, and it's got good shape and everything. Because most hats, because again, it doesn't look like it, but I actually have a gigantic brain here,
dude.
And so most hats are like yarmulkes to me. Like they sit on top of my head, you know. This one actually goes around the entire circumference of my giant melon, you know.
Mighty Geek, you're absolutely right. Our job is to create interesting mythology that readers will love, and I think that the person who really brought it home to me with defining pulp this way was Razor Fist, and he gets a little thank you, you know, in the back of the book, you know, as like there's like a whole little thank you section. The thing about Razor Fist for me was that he said his approach to things is pulp, which is low page count, high plot. So a lot happens. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Get this one about biblical stories. Hold on a second. I know Fox News Corp, a major media, came into being towards the tail end of that era. Shoot, I'm missing something. Get this one, Shanth. Oh, our job is mythology. Comrade Sammy. Where did I miss the biblical? Did I miss it? Oh, and there's Kit Carter by Aaron Lopresti. John, make sure. Let me know which one. Oh, get this one right here. Is that?
I just finished my pinup for that.
Oh, I bet it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Now you probably saw it before already, but what happened was, you know, he was doing one of those streams, and everyone was like joking, like, you got to make it, you know, more sexual and stuff. And so as a joke, I created that image of Kit Carter, you know, she's got the gun and stuff, and it looks rather phallic. Yeah. That was just all funny. But actually, I'm working on going, hey, this looks pretty good. And so when they put it out there, like, oh, this is great. So like, I kind of felt bad because people are like, you got to use it on the campaign. And now he's like, now he's got to buy it from me. You know, it's like, I said, I tell you what, you know, whatever you want to pay me, because I don't like forcing myself into a campaign, you know, like,
yeah.
So, you know, he wasn't budgeted for it. I say, whatever you want or nothing. I don't care. You know, just you know, so that worked out fine. It's done now. So I'll be showing that. He'll put it up on the campaign then.
Yeah.
But he's been waiting for it too.
This is the
thing. I was going to add to, well, because I did it like quickly, I did it smaller and lower resolution and rougher line. So I had to kind of just go back and do the old line work over. So it's finished now, but.
Yeah. And I agree with you guys about biblical stories being underutilized. I mean, I think that is, the Bible has the best stories for comics. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I mean, for me, I look at this stuff, and I think about, I look at, Cecil B. DeMille, and I think about Samson and Delilah. I think about the great epics we did, like Ben-Hur, but those things are so, even Prince of Egypt, talking about, modern stories by DreamWorks. I mean, you have to be able to really make something breathtaking. And I think in this, whether it's digital or traditional, I got to be real here. I think you got to be able to paint. You know what I mean? Because you really need to do some of that with value layers, like what you're doing, Dan, when you work in digital. Mm-hmm. You got to paint a little bit more. You got to give them that like classic animated feel where you've got your figures and then you've got this scope, because they did some gorgeous stuff in those, man. Gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, Prince of Egypt, that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful animation.
Breathtaking.
Yeah. Speaking of Christianity and stuff, all superheroes, like most superheroes, are self-sacrificing. That's the
Yep.
self-sacrificing love of Christ. Kind of that's what a hero is.
Yep.
It's there's no greater love than to give up your life for a friend. That's Christianity, and
That's 100%.
that's what these comic books used to really be about before they were about the environment or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah.
might even
There you
have this
go.
book. Yeah. Oh, I love that
This is a
picture. Oh,
great book, guys. So this is the
oh.
Art of Prince of Egypt, and it was dirt
Wait,
cheap
where'd it
for a
go?
while. But when somebody
Okay.
says, I gotta
Oh
move
yeah.
it to turn the pages. But when
Yeah,
people
yeah.
talk to me about what is possible in comics, this can be done in traditional, this could be done in digital. It doesn't matter, but you have to have the skills. You have to have the
Hmm,
skills.
hmm.
This book was like you could get it cheap everywhere. They couldn't get rid of these things. And then when artists discovered it, they were like, "Oh crap!" And now it's really hard to find. Look at that. Look at that background.
Yeah.
Somebody
You know
asks
what I
me,
thought was the most coolest thing ever in this whole movie was when they're going through the water and they have the tunnels of
yes.
water, and then you saw a whale
Mm-hmm.
going on the outside. That was just so freaking cool, man.
Does this work for you guys in comics? I mean, look, so many of these the European Disney artists went into bande dessinée. I've got one of them and their works over here that I found out about recently. But these are concept paintings. This is what I thought comics would be by now, to be honest.
I
I thought it
know.
would be a lot more like animation because we can do all the same things. We can do the painted backgrounds easily, but you
Right, you
have to
don't
know
have
how
to
to
do
paint.
the comics in the traditional way anymore, for sure. Yeah.
Nope, you don't, and you've got to like really study. Look at the setup of a shot like this. Look at that. It's how much can you imagine? How much
Hmm.
can you imagine? And that's what I try to do. It is so much harder to execute something of this scope when you're working in comics, because especially as a one man operation, it's a lot. Let me see if I can find. I have so many copies of this dang book, and I'm just looking for one I can just open up. And I thought I had a bunch here, but maybe on.
It'd be almost interesting to see them do this with CG now, but I
Yeah,
don't know how you could do a whole much better because
you could.
the
I don't think
paintings
you
are
could
so
do
great.
much better than that, dude.
Yeah.
That is so close to sublime. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and the
nuts.
characters themselves, the characters were well, what do you call it? Just
Acted,
developed
animated.
and stuff. Animated.
Yep.
Yeah, they were
Here we go.
the character design. I'm trying to say the character designs were spot on.
When people see what I'm trying to do with Nosfero, right? It's bringing that level of production quality. I got one compliment that made me exceedingly happy, or unbelievably happy, was when people were talking about the production value on this book. Like, this is the stuff I am reaching for when I'm doing this stuff. And to speak to that page I was telling you about, one of my favorite pages in the book actually is taking a panel to have our
Yeah,
hero
that is
after
great.
his battle pray, and then a wordless panel right
Yeah,
there.
that
That
is great.
is what
That's
I'm
great. Yeah.
going for. And it's like when we
Oh,
get into,
Eric thinks I've spoken blasphemy and I need to be sent to the gulag.
well,
Wait,
listen,
no. Where do you go? Where do you go? Where do you go when you get when you speak against the religion?
yeah, I think that he meant it in the nicest possible way, dude.
I think he meant in love.
There's when we send people in this
He
space to the
needs. I need to
gulag
be educated,
with
obviously,
love.
right?
Yes, exactly. Just
Kick.
just
I need to be
standard.
kicked. I need to be kicked with love.
Yes, kicked with love. That's we kick you when you're down with love. So yeah, so this right here, guys, this is what I'm talking about when we say what is possible in art. What is possible. Look at those colors, Dan Lawless, my fellow brother in color.
Hmm. Yeah, warms and
You know,
cools.
yep, it's orange and blue, my favorite palette. And when just to get to what you were, I mean, gosh, look at this desert painting, Dan.
I know it's fantastic.
Isn't that just beautiful? Why are
Yeah.
we
Well, I think the
not?
best, honestly, I think the best art today being done today is concept art for movies and animation.
Sure.
Because you find that stuff on Pinterest. I got just
Look at
files and
this.
files of stuff that are just
This is
extraordinary,
all
beautiful stuff.
crazy traditional work too. I can't believe they did a lot of this or most of this in traditional. It's one of the most beautifully artistic films in the world. And now I don't care what kind of media it is. I care about the quality.
And it was a very strong capture of the, I think, representation of the biblical story too. It was really good.
Yep.
You know?
Look at these shots, Dan. These are easily possible to do as comic book backgrounds. You just got to put in a little bit of more time, and you might not be able to have, a 200-page book. You know what I mean? Because really,
they're not as difficult as you think if you know what you're doing. You know,
I know. I'm with you, Dan.
If you grew up with working with gouache paints and stuff, some of this stuff is a lot easier than you think it is.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, the only difficult part of it is the comic page. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's the fact that you're doing, at least for me, is the fact that I'm doing a painting that's 6 or 7 interlocking paintings. That is the difficult part. But look at that Red Sea shot. Come on now.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
This is what spectacle. These are the definition of spectacle.
Oh, there it is.
That there is a concept painting, Dan. That's not even a shot from the film.
Oh, I know. It's fantastic.
Beautiful, dude.
It's probably the best representation. Yeah, then
it's gorgeous. Look at that concept painting, Dan.
That's Fantasia kind of stuff.
Oh, sorry, this one right here is the concept painting. They're so close. But this right here, look at how small the figure of Moses, that little red note there, is beautiful. You know, I mean, I love bringing beauty to audiences, and Nosferatu is going to do that. Nosferatu 2. There's your shot, Dan, which I love.
Absolutely, a favorite.
Shot.
Oh my gosh,
come on now.
That's something else, man.
Something else.
Brilliant.
100%.
Artistry.
Yeah. I hope that person got a pat on the back when they came up with that. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing in CG. This is what the Iron Age is about. The Iron Age, and when I say that too, like the Iron Age, let me be clear. The Iron Age is not Comicsgate in the sense that Comicsgate is in the Iron Age, but that's Razorfist said this, and since he's the person who really coined it for me, it's the name of the time we're in right now, this time of independent artists and revolution. So it's like the Golden Age was a time period, right? And I think of when doing comics as being, for me anyway, is Comicsgate, and I'm also in that Iron Age, period, this time period. But Razorfist, who is an Iron Age creator, he writes novels, not just comics, launched a comic. And so when I say that I'm a part of these things, it's, I know I've said this before, Razorfist, that's Razorfist's hand, and that is his gun. That is based off of the gun.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
A real one, yeah. So
colors,
when I say I do Iron Age stuff, Comicsgate stuff.
Now, has this comic come out? When did it come out?
Not yet. They're still finishing it up, and this is going to be a print in the hardcover edition, which I backed, and then it's going to be released through a publisher after that. So we've got to really just kick ass and look at the fun that we're having with this stuff. This is, and I remember when I did this cover, I went, I wonder if I'm going to be able to do a cover that I like as much as this cover, because this was based off of a comic I loved when I was a kid.
I wonder how's Razorfist doing with Ethan. I mean, all this rift that's going on now. I really hate that.
Stay out of it. I think they're fine. I think those folks are fine.
Good, because the one with the latest one with Yellow Flash and Ethan's like, it's just like, it's bullshit.
I tell people this, guys. I tell people this. Right, is that we get about our work, we get about our craft, and it's like I've got the folks that have done so much for me in this space. I always want to make sure that I talk about the people who've helped me. I was talking about Ethan on a stream not long ago when I said when I closed out, and because you were streaming with me that day, when I closed out Nosferatu and Ethan helped me raise, I think at least. The campaign raise, I should say, because it goes into the production of the book, so it's not like it goes in my pocket, but about $3,000 in a couple of hours, and he's done that for so many people. And Razorfist, Razorfist doesn't get drug into anything, Jordan. I mean, from what I've seen, Razorfist is just like, what?
That would be nice.
I don't live in that world, because it's like, if I know, how do I put this? I feel so fortunate to be in this space. And I will say that this is the craziest thing. Like I was talking to my wife about Nosfero and these books. And guys, when I go down these names and I'm packing up these again, when I say I'm packing packages, I mean your package was packed by me. You will see your name and the number so that Lauren could put it together, written in my script, my handwriting, my calligraphic writing.
Really, doing his by hand? Okay.
Every
Well, how many
package is
copies?
shipped
How many copies you got to send out?
Not enough. No, yet. But I know, I'm kidding. No, I've had to send out. I don't know how many packages it comes into because it's kind of wonky that way. But I have 660 backers.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's
So
not
I'm
too
a busy
bad.
boy.
It's a lot, but it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. And I'm telling you this, guys.
I think when you get over 1,000, it gets you get your hand cramps and stuff like.
Sure, but what a problem to have, right?
Oh yeah.
But I will tell you this, guys, about this because it does mean a lot to me, right? I see you guys' names. I write thank you, Shanth, on every single one. Occasionally I forget. And I'll write it on the outside of the box if I can. But there's too much, like, I've been to India. I've seen severe poverty. I have seen a lot of difficulty in my time. And comics and comic shops saved my life. So when the people who are good to me in this space, whether it's me doing people, and I know I talk about this stuff, but it's only to shed light on other stuff and be excited about it. When I did the logo redesign type fun stuff for Fund My Comic, that was because I wanted to help those guys, because those guys I thought were doing something great. You know what I mean? When I promoted people's campaigns on my channel, I do it to help. It's not against anybody else. And when I do things for Ethan, it's because, you know, Ethan has done so much for me. And when I do things for, you know, just in terms of stepping into the fray, and especially, of course, John Malin, I can only think of the positive things. And the positive things for me crowd out the negative. Not because I need to turn a blind eye, but guys, I came from academia. Academia is a place where the slogan is, the battles are so fierce because the stakes are so low. People in academia are relentlessly petty. And I am freeing myself of all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's feeling like that a little bit now, yeah.
Yeah, but it's... But
by
no,
the way,
it's,
Rocky here has little faith in you packaging up your work there.
Oh, is he saying, I demand Sean's blood? Is that what he's saying?
Well, before that, he says, I don't believe you're packing it until I get mine. So,
yeah, well, that's perfectly fine.
He wants blood.
Yeah,
he wants blood.
Yeah, you don't believe you're packing it until you get yours. Let me tell you something. If you want blood, you
want
know
your
where
DNA,
I live.
man.
Drop by anytime.
He wants your DNA so he can clone you.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's like this is the craziest thing, man. I've been in CG since the start. This, like, it's the problem is, and I don't know if you've ever turned on the news. The problem is all of the good stuff that you see happening will oftentimes involve people. A lot of the bad stuff that is happening will oftentimes involve people. And for me, I go around looking at this stuff, and looking at art and all of the amazing stuff, and I choose to look at that stuff. And I'm not naive because, like I said, I could go into, like, here's something that gets me, Dan. I'll tell you one thing that definitely gets me. Like, that one of the few things that really, I wouldn't say bothers me, but annoys me, is when people see somebody being positive and optimistic, and they think that it's because you haven't seen anything. And when you read my wife's intro, which is one of my favorite, like, I really wanted her to write the intro, or I got to a point where I went, she should write the intro. This is big for our family. She's taken this leap of faith with me, and we have this freaking ridiculous bond, my wife and I thank God for her every single day. And when she wrote the intro, I could not imagine a better intro. A better, it's like she said stuff in there that I did not think she was going to say. Like, cool. You know, to the effect of, my husband is, without getting into details, my husband has been through shit that would have stopped lesser people in their fucking tracks, without the F word, because that's me. But she says, and I remember thinking, holy shit. Like, she actually wrote that because she knows the deal. So I look at people and I go, if you can't wake up, here's my rule of thumb about America, in a nutshell. America, a country where if you can be miserable here, you can be miserable anywhere. That's something to take pride in. Because if you can truly feel miserable in America, you could be miserable anywhere, because that's the way it is.
No, I
You
don't
know
think
what I
people
mean?
know what misery is. They just don't. They don't.
They have not been to poverty-stricken areas of India for
No,
sure. I have.
no.
And I also would say this. I've got family and I've got friends who deal with real medical problems. Things that are, come into friends of ours' lives and people we care about that are at stage 4. I don't think I need to explain that any further. Do you know what I'm saying? And I look at the
Sure.
grace and dignity that people handle things with, and I think if you have been spoiled and supported by the company you keep, have the good grace and dignity to notice it, appreciate it, and thank God or thank whatever you thank every single day.
No
And I
kidding,
do.
man.
And it shows in the work that I do. It shows in the work that I do. I cannot. It is a. If you had told me, it might have made my youth and growing up easier. I actually sent a message to John Malin about a particular experience I had when I was a kid because I was I was thinking about some of the context of things. And it was this weird thing with this KKK business card thing that happened that some of you guys know, and I've told the story on here before. It's not worth getting into again.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, and I said, I'm in a place now where you guys in the chat are lifting up a painted comic book, and it is hard. I have put more money into this book than we could even describe as a profit or a financial windfall. You know what I mean? It is just
Mhm.
you guys. I'd love to say we paid to fund this book, but the reality is the work of this book plus the printing of this book, it erases most of that. But this is the thing: this art matters to you guys. It matters to me, and we have done it. We have done it, and we will
Yeah.
continue to do it. And I know the rewards will keep coming, but I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
going to
nice
let.
if you can make. I mean, if you can get to the point where you're making your living from this. But I do like the idea of the freedom that you can make it. You can make something and print it and ship it. It's awesome.
The cross is there unintentionally, but it's also a factor. But hold fast, outclass, outlast, give nihilism no quarter is my brand new T-shirt that I've got on that on my T-shirt thing. This is my thing, and it's hold out and last is what it says right there. Give no quarter when you look at the way the words are written. But it's give
Yeah.
nihilism no quarter is the mantra that I came up with to describe how I feel. I take this stuff real seriously.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
you are
saying,
positive, but that's not
yeah,
that is not satisfying. Rocky here. He
Rocky
agrees with
can
that.
kiss my grits. No, Rocky
And Eric
is
is
my brother.
also now he's started a trend. Eric is now also calling for blood. Oh no.
Listen, everybody, listen. You guys, if you want it, we'll give it to you. You know, in my chat, the theory is you got to bring it to get it, and my chat gets it. That's the way it is. Yeah, man. And I love you guys, man, and I love the support you guys have given No Sparrow. Your copies are coming. Just remember this. There is just one guy behind this desk in this office with these books. I do this by hand because I want you guys to know that you got this, man. You know what I mean?
Hey, I
That
just
this is
realized
from
we haven't
me.
had a cheerleader yet tonight.
We haven't had a
Didn't
cheerleader,
anybody?
but
Didn't anybody say anything cheerleader worthy?
no, nobody has said a thing cheerleader worthy today. And
Cheerleader worthy?
frankly,
Oh shit!
that scares me. Every
Yeah.
time a cheerleader comes on screen, an angel gets its wings. I think Eric Huffles is dropping some cheerleaders in the chat now. That's what I like to see. There you go. I loved doing those, by the way. I wish I could share those on screen, man. It's so annoying that it doesn't do
Awful
that.
watch.
I will work for pizza. Amen, man. Amen. Look at them dropping those cheerleaders. All my channel members, man. I wish I could show them on screen, but you guys are making it happen. God bless you, man. I love it. Yeah, you guys are the best, guys. This book exists for you. The second book will exist. And this is the thing. I intend to do a second printing of this. The first printing will be available at a higher price, of course. And we're just going to keep making beautiful works of art here. And like I said, I'm not making, with this particular approach, this painted approach, don't think of them as issues. Think of them as, what do you call it? Think of them as books. It's just that I'm telling a story and boom, there it is. Yeah. Hang the hell on.
Oh,
I
come on.
gotta become.
You gotta give him
Oh,
a cheerleader.
nice. With all that's
We
going
gotta
on
give
here,
him a cheerleader, you guys.
people
You
used
can't.
all their super chat money
You
on
can't.
unlocking Ethan's
If this is the wrap up,
review.
if this is the wrap up, Shanth, you can't let him not have a cheerleader at least once.
They will. They will. Well,
Somebody
don't
say
type and
something cheerleader
drive.
worthy.
Yes, please. Diesel, do not type and drive. For the love of God. We need you, Diesel. We need you alive. Oh, my Lord, man. Yeah, you guys are the best.
Maybe we shouldn't do a cheerleader to distract him from his driving.
I know. I'm a little worried because Diesel's my boy, man. That's the way it is. That's the way it is, man. Shout out to Diesel. But yeah, you guys are... No, yeah, listen, I'm illiterate, Diesel, so you don't need to apologize. I'm absolutely illiterate. So, guys, I'm going to definitely going to drop you a cheerleader before on our way out. You guys are awesome. Ethan said he would review ISOM if he got $1,000 in super chats. He got 1,000.
Yeah, he's bringing in the cash with this.
Yeah, he is.
This stuff.
Hey,
so.
I gotta tell
why
you
not?
this,
I mean, why not? If he's gonna be
because
the
those
ringer,
toys don't pay for themselves. You've seen them, Dan. There is no way. Well, yeah, I was telling somebody.
Yeah, that's expensive shit. You know, you want
the profit margins on those toys may have been about that super chat, man. That's
no, he would have to probably to do profit. He'd have to do greater quantities through toy stores and all that stuff. But
100%.
But but if you shit the quality of these things,
they're awesome, dude. Come on now.
Really
Hold on,
cool,
wait,
man.
let me embiggen you here.
Wait, okay, hang on a second. I gotta also take off the blur effect so it doesn't focus on me.
Holy smokes, Dan.
They're great, they're
great,
really
dude.
Cool.
Yeah, I got the Heather and the CyberFrog. I got the same one you did because I wanted to have the one I painted. Oh man, dude. So good.
I took mine out of the box, as of course I'm not a collector.
I got to take mine out of the box because I actually do take my stuff out of the box, but I was just like, I want to hang on to this, man. But I thought
it was cool. But just
awesome.
the feet too is really something else.
Yeah, man. All right, Dan. So I am going to. Yes, he does retain the molds for those toys, as far as I know. So Ethan does retain the molds, so he's going to be able to do more with them, I am sure. So, guys, we're gonna wrap up here, Dan. I'm gonna boot you out of this thing because it's otherwise you'll pop up big on the screen at the end.
It's great to see it, man.
It's great to see.
It's great to come in and see you and say hi to the chat. I haven't seen John in a while, and that's what it's nice to see everyone.
Great, dude.
So, Eric,
they're great. These guys keep me going, man. They keep me so inspired and so enthusiastic. And guys, if I can even share an ounce of the enthusiasm that you guys give me back at you, then I've done my bit. I've done my bit for King and Country, and you guys are awesome. And so I'm gonna just do my best to keep it positive, and also, but just I know there's always a lot of stuff, and I'm not even talking about like this stuff or whatever. I know there's always a lot of stuff going on in the world, and our job however any of us do it. Everybody do it the way they do it. I mean, the Jack Show cracks me up all the time. There's such great stuff out there,
They're still going? Probably still going.
Yeah, I love Grim Life Collective, Townsend's. I watch so many different kinds of channels. I love it all. And I would say this is that give people escapism. It's great for them. We're here to give you guys escapism. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank my brother Dan for coming on the show. Dan, thank you so much. And we will see you guys soon, all right? And I'll play the credits for all my channel members out there. Michael, thank you so much. All of you guys, awesome.
Am I hanging in here, Shanth, or am I?
You can head out, and I'll probably text you, and I'll probably give you a
text. That's fine. Okay, we'll talk to you.
All right, brother.
Okay, we'll see you, man.
Take care, guys.
Right, bye-bye.
We'll see you guys soon. Bye. And let's see if I can get this to work. All right, guys. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. And as always, speak easy, stay gold, keep the faith, and peace, because that is what my name means. God bless you all.